Hello and welcome to the preview for Golden Rose Day. Aaron Macy, hello. Mark Lambourne, hello.
Dallas Baker, and today it's sprung, it's happened, the sun's got some bite. We're looking forward to a pretty good program tomorrow, but unfortunately 8 runners in the Golden Rose pretty much underlines Sydney racing, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. This is
the distillation.
Yeah, exactly right. You compare what's happening in Sydney to Melbourne, and they are poles apart. We've just spent the last 15 minutes here chatting about Melbourne, you know, with the excitement that it is. So, but anyway, look, it's a decent enough card in Sydney, and I think we'll find some good angles as we discuss it and preview it. Boys, just a reminder for anyone who didn't have the free trial last week, anybody who hasn't tried it, you can get a free trial again. I think the products selected are Fletcher's Saturday Sydney and Melbourne stuff, which have been on fire. Aaron?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them.
You haven't you? Okay, thanks for your support. Well done. They have been on fire. They've really been nailing it, playing a really good game, letting a lot of races go and really zoning in on the races they like. They smashed Melbourne last week and selectively won in Sydney, which is pretty much how you have to play it, isn't it, Mark? Yeah. You've got also the Mounting Yard Mail combo. So you want to get Mounting Yard Mail from Flemington or Rosehill, you can try that for free if you didn't have a free product last week. And there's another couple of products which I just can't remember. I think Hong Kong's part of the mix, and of course Pro Better Live. Pro Better Live is definitely part of the mix, which is the one we probably recommend to really have a good crack at and have a look and get involved with the chat throughout the afternoon, because it's really starting to build momentum, Pro Better Live. And it's a good, it's a very good tool, which I think Melbourne punter Lee Dalton actually found out about in Melbourne. Yeah, I can't tell that story. Anyway, there's lots of ways to win with the intelligence we can provide from Pro Better Live. But anyway, all good. Okay, so boys, Mark Rail True Rail 2 metres. It's going to be a good track. Yep, weather perfect, and 2 metres will appear to play fair unless you're hard on the fence.
Yeah, look, the 2 metre rails that I've seen, they've tended to be dominated by high drawers for some reason.
Yeah.
Almost more so than the normal rail in the sense of the high drawers. Maybe that's just a positioning aspect, and obviously the 2 metre position tends to be on big days.
Yep.
It's used for for Roger Guinea's Day or Golden Slipper Day?
It's Golden Slipper Day sometimes, depending on how they've shifted it,
yeah.
Now Golden Slipper's on the second
Golden
week.
Rose last year was on a normal rail, coming off the 6 metre rail, and this one's on a 2 metre rail coming off the normal rail. So I'm certainly preferring horses drawn wider and maybe one off, but it'll just depend on how the race shape takes place.
Lovely. And I would just say that probably the only position you'd really say is the one you don't want to be is box seating, third the fence, because you tend to get stuck on the fence, and that's probably the leader will generally roll off.
It's hard to build the revs, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's probably the position you don't want, but yeah, it's overall fair. All right, let's get
closest to fair.
It's the closest. Yeah, exactly. It'll appear to be fair. Okay, race 1 sees Artabai $5, $6.50 for Dancers of Heroes, about $7 Hearns Oak, and $6 Marin Ostro, who just won't go away.
Now, interesting, I think the segue, well, the correct starting point here is that we get Magic Man back, and last time we saw Magic Man, he didn't. He brought his magic, but he didn't bring any tactics.
No, that's right. And I was actually going to write a story for it, but I've run out of time. But I was going to, from my point of view on the Magic Man, I think it's very clear that horses travel for him and travel as good as anything, so that gives him his edge. He's tactically unsound, he doesn't do any homework and all of that sort of business, so that's where he got found out hopelessly last time at Randwick, even though he almost won the George Moore Nathan Berry medal by running a consecutive ride of seconds.
He didn't win a race.
Didn't win a race, rode the carnival as badly as anyone, but almost was the rider of the carnival. But I think tomorrow is a day that will suit him, because we're saying the track's going to be fair, and so then it comes advantage Joe by having horses travel better than anyone, and especially Messrs Bowman and Shin not there.
Yes. I mean, he's certainly filling a hole there.
I'm saying Joe tick, not cross.
I'm saying Joe pick your ponies.
Yep. Okay. All right. Lovely. So we start with Joe. We were talking about him there, and the horse in question is Artabai, which is the favourite in a whitish market in the first. What do they do pace-wise, mate?
Well, Duccio returns here after 5 weeks off. don't know what he's been doing.
No.
Back to 1800 with blinkers back on and red gloves from the wide gate.
And from the tricky 1800 metres where
From
you
the
got it,
18 metre
where you
start.
got it. There's no mucking about. You got to go if you're going to cross.
I had Marinostro seeking a forward position, and Hearns Oak will use the low draw. And perhaps Dance of Heroes will kick up as well from his low draw. So there'll be a little bit of work early into that first turn.
Yeah, I mean, there's every chance that Duccio could go off and go with red gloves, isn't there? If he revs it up from out
Yeah,
wide.
but the trouble
turn
is,
fresh.
he's funny. He's a slow.
Oh yeah, he's not much good, but if he's
You know, like he
When red gloves is going like this,
Yeah.
he's going to just move that little bit faster, isn't he?
yeah, that's right.
he'll need to. He'll need to.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that won't happen. Yeah.
There is the potential for the old in the straight. Oh, there's something wrong with the horse. No, I've just broken world records in front. Anyway, so what are we saying? We'll start with Artabai.
Well, obviously he missed a run at a vital stage last start, but I mean he's now back to 1800 when you would think that he'd perhaps be progressing towards 2400. So you know, just one of the chances for mine.
Yep. Okay. Well, Aaron, Artabai.
I thought it'd win last start, yes, it was held up, but the horse has still had its chance and proven itself to be a massive dog.
My view on Artabai is it gets its best chance tomorrow to show us what it's got. Like it's there. The 3 weeks behind. I know the distance, all that sort of stuff, but I think he
They
gets.
say 1800 seems really.
Yeah, but I just think he's now at the stage where he's got his best chance of proving that he's not a dog.
It's an interesting distance, 1800, and I suspect that the play horse tomorrow is Hearns Oak, which is it's had the 3 runs back. It's returned to Saturday grade last week. It's on the 7-day back up. It's possying up.
Yeah.
It's got gun. It's
Do you find it in the box seat? That was his unfair.
No, yeah, but that's okay. 1800. That's because
Staying race.
yeah, 1800 saving ground.
One
Yeah.
thing with the horse that I know is it needs to be inside horses
Yeah.
to settle, and it will get that stable.
And also too, not just saving ground at the 1800 metres, the inside draws at 1800 metres. I know it doesn't matter where the rail is, are a huge advantage because that is just such an awful start. So I'm saying where he box seat in this race, okay.
Yeah, it's a double tick.
yeah. I would expect him to be firming from his current quote. Any comment on this is Richard Hawkes Road Carragara? It's slightly raced and it's been hard in the market in 2 Wednesday races, and looks a big dopey thing that didn't
Looks like a
seem
big
comfortable.
Mr. Grassman. It looks exactly what it's written about. It's just a big dopey thing.
No, I've got nothing to say, but
Well, the reason I raise it is because this race last year was won by that low thing of was it Hawkes, the thing that never ever got won over again. Just held off a McAvoy runner. Anyway, it was a very, very low rating race. This probably will be as well.
This is awful. Exactly. Anyway, let's move on. Artabai and Hearns Oak for me, and it's.
I'm Thunder Lady.
Thunder Lady, exactly. Worth talking about, Aaron. It's been progressing nicely.
Oh, but what about the 63.5 kilos?
Yeah.
Well, one thing, I
Firstly,
think
she
weight
does-
is important to an extent, to a small extent with certain. With this horse, it gets the claim. She's a big horse. She's on a dry track. I don't think she's a horse that will be able to carry weight. She's not a little tiny stayer. She's a big girl. She's the best horse in this race by at least 5 lengths, in my opinion. Once she's 2,000
Well, what do you mean?
plus.
What's the where's the best run? Where's this best run? What? Because she's won a Group 2 at Flemington on Derby Day.
Just the rest of them are hopeless.
Yeah, well, but I'm suggesting that in 6 months' time we'll be just comparing Thunder Lady with these horses.
With Miss On.
Okay.
You know, look, there's 3-year-old fillies. The horses that win these 3-year-old fillies races are suddenly cup. You know,
Yeah.
they're suddenly cup chances.
No, they're not.
But anyway, look,
I
I think
think
she's
she's a nice
very,
stayer.
very unfairly treated because they look at. you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
They look at the race. The only race she's won.
Yeah.
I think next start will be
Next
her
start's
go,
a go, yeah.
But I think this
What,
start
Newcastle Cup?
possibly. I'm not sure.
I'd rather
She'll
just see
get-
her in a 2,000 metre mares race at Randwick.
Yeah.
Is there one?
I don't
Craven
know.
Plate.
Maybe. Yeah, with 3 runners. Anyway, it doesn't matter where she's going. You're giving her a good each way chance to
Give
go.
it a good each way chance.
All right, lovely, cool. All right, let's move on. We spent too much time on race 1 there, boys. It's shit. Race 2, Kingston Town Stakes. Silver ball odds on $1.90. $6 Havana Cooler and Gazing's $8. King Shasta. What do they do pace-wise, Mark?
Well, they dawdle. It's similarly run to the Premier's Cup a fortnight ago, and I had Maris, who is a bit dour and will need to be, and Skyline Blush in the van. King Shasta should posse up, being still fresh, second up. Silver Ball looks to occupy a similar position that he did a fortnight back, and the other 3 will be astern.
All right, Silver Ball firstly, Aaron, we've been watching a parade. Looks in fantastic order, but has also got a heap of improvement still too from the first runs, and just really, the sense of timing about it.
Oh, like huge. You made the point in the yard. You went, well, it's nowhere near as fit as you thought it would be, and it ran past the way it looked.
Yeah, that's right. It is, and
Didn't that help? Because it was a slowly run race. And
it was being slowly run, but
needed to have
the thing that I like is that it's behind what it was doing. Behind what it's doing fitness-wise, but it's still returning the same data as it did last time, and it's a high level. Right now, it's a high level data and ready to go again.
Yeah. It looks a serious race.
It does look a serious race. So the worry is it's a 7-year-old, but I think it's still that can be okay. But yeah, he's ready to improve. I think even speaking with Glenn about the article that's about to go online about the Mounting Yard Mail, like he would be surprised if it doesn't say improve 2 to 3 lengths. Looks sensational.
Yeah.
So that's about where we'd see it, Aaron, from the yard.
Yeah, about around there.
All right, Mark Silverball, talk about his form.
Look, I love it. I mean, I think it looks the best of the day, but I want to play devil's advocate. I want people to back other horses in the race.
All right. Okay. Well, let's.
So there's a couple of things. There's the fact that its best performances in Sydney have all been sting out.
Yep.
So there's soft tracks there that are when this horse is shone.
What was the track at Flemington, Aaron, when it won?
Track at Flemington, it was a good 3 one day and a heavy, day 1
Yeah,
3.
well, that's his best career run in Australia. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I stand corrected there. We've got a couple of lightly raced horses here. In fact, 3 lightly raced horses here that can be tried, despite the fact that they look awkwardly placed.
Havana Cooler, firstly. What did you say at Warren? Dave said didn't handle Warren, blah blah blah.
Never looked to be a horse that was going to handle.
No.
Yeah, but it's allowed to try. It's allowed to do a little bit better than it did.
Yeah,
it just went back to stay last.
We're suggesting maybe a flat run. The late sectionals combined were probably a little bit too much. Flat run. Glenn wasn't happy with the later at Warren either.
Yeah.
There's enough there to say forgive run. And as we often say, you'd rather see him go that bad than run a nice 6th or 7th.
Yeah, but the thing is that he's got to get through Silver Ball, so it's not like
No.
It's not like you've got this race of half chances where you're looking for a figure.
I thought you said you wanted to see people back other horses. I'm trying to make a case for it.
We'll just oppose and oppose.
Yeah,
We'll just
but
bounce
look, I think
ping
Havana,
pong.
Cooler definitely needs to forgive for that those reasons and more. And he's the clear danger, Aaron.
Yeah, I thought it was a clear danger. I think Silver Ball will win. I don't like diving into the shorts in those sort of races.
But we're talking about Havana Cooler, Aaron. I don't care. You've stated Silver Ball.
No, I don't want to back it either. I don't want to bet in the race, to be honest.
All right.
I
We're
think
talking
it's the
about
main
Havana
danger.
Cooler. Can you make a
Main
comment
danger.
on Havana Cooler? I don't
First
care
up
about
run
your
was
personal stuff.
outstanding. Its second run was a forgive run.
Okay, all right. And King Kashasha. No, Nick Ashman likes it from track work. What are your thoughts there,
Well,
Mark?
in a very slowly run small field at Hawkesbury, he showed a turn of foot. Veet Lonnie's your yardstick, a horse that bashes around okay in the benchmark 80s on Saturday, and he just he sprinted and beat Lonnie didn't. So this horse has got a lot of upside.
Yeah. Do you get the feel it's probably next run for it?
Well, it's a work in progress. So. I expect this horse to do something nice here. The other horse here is Skyline Blush, who I realise has run a succession of quite weak races, but she's still a lightly raced mare with lots of wins under her belt.
Okay, cool. But it's I'm Silver Ball Havana Cooler. When I give King Kinshasa due respect, but I feel next run for it. Okay. Mark, what are your Silver Ball?
Silver Ball.
Yeah, Aaron and your Silver Ball. Okay.
I'm Silver Ball, and the dangers are Kingdoms and Havana Cooler.
Kingdoms. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. No, okay, beautiful. Race 3 is the Fillies and Mares midweek race. Equal favourites, Rockalicious, Artistry about the $4.60 mark, $8.50 something Speed Secret, and about the same price Sweet Fire. Mark, who leads?
Rockalicious or Passion Flower from the deep, but they both look well drawn in that sense. Because down underneath them, or down near the inside, are Martalago and Raffinato, who are both coming back slightly in distance, quite sort of. Well, they lack the pace of the horses out wide. Obviously, Artistry is quite fresh, and I'd be interested to hear if there's any intelligence there about the options they've chosen. Moi Bien Posse's up, Danish Twist Posse's up, and Something Secret is first time at this sort of trip, and she may work forward into a position. It's Sabrina, Sweetfire, Miss Von, Lady McCann, La Carla, and NASCAR going back.
All right. Anyone want to? Where do we start? Let's start with artistry. Then you wanted to tell us. What do you want to ask?
Why I was scratched a fortnight ago.
No idea.
Perfect race.
No idea.
All
Trialled
right,
since, so
Trialled well since. It's
Okay.
nice, quite trial. Yep.
artistry. So what do we say?
I give it a chance. I think I did around 4 speed.
Yeah. And
I
why?
thought it's too short. Why? I just think it's still lightly raced. It's gone from Critical Peak to Snowden. They're just starting. They get it going. Its win first up was good. It was wide. Improved jockeying. I'll give it a chance. I don't think it's any great odds though.
I agree.
Okay. Right. Yeah. I have no opinion of the race.
I think
So
it's the best betting race on the card.
okay, fair enough. All right. Okay. Well, then, okay. Go. Who's your on topic then?
I've marked Sabrina favourite and it's $12. I thought its run first up was outstanding. It always improves second up to 1500's ideal. I like that Maria is on it because even if it does say get caught wide from the gate, he'll keep it relaxed. He's the one person that you don't mind because he can sit there, the horse stays relaxed. She's got the best turn of foot in the race in my opinion, and I think she's just better than these. I really do. The other horse that I don't
No,
mind,
yeah,
I
just
don't
wait.
know.
Just
Sorry,
wait.
sorry.
Just Mark, Sabrina.
Yeah,
Do you want me to write down the format for you?
Yeah.
Ditto.
I don't know.
Fools never differ, Aaron. Like
Yes.
I saw things exactly the same way.
Okay. So no point to add. Okay. What was the next horse now, Aaron?
I'm interested to hear about Locala. I think she's a lightly raced filly. On the a few of these kind of look like they've hit their limitations, and she looks like one that has a little bit of ability and is definitely on the up. I like the trial between runs as well. And
Yeah,
I like the second favourite.
I think there's a hollowness to its runs that doesn't stop it winning here, but means it's shorter than I think it should be.
Okay.
All right. Next is Rockalicious.
Well, a horse that's had 3 starts at Warwick Farm and returned to the wet to win, but drew 1 the other day, which is never an advantage at Warwick Farm, even if you can do it.
Yeah.
And here it goes up in distance to a wide draw. It's going to put itself in the
she's on
race.
switch,
Not necessarily golden switch because 1 wasn't hopeless the other day, but still, you'd like to see front runners drawing wide.
Yeah.
Love to see it, especially when you've got Passion Flower underneath it to bring it across. And I think it's in the race.
That Warwick Farm race that's providing a lot of the form, the wet track, Warwick Farm, bunch finish, bunched SPs. It doesn't inspire.
Well, talk to me about alternative leader.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
that's why I struggle with the
it was
race.
a muddling run race.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fact that it was at 13 or 14, 1400. It was 1400.
1400, I think, yeah.
Something Secret did something. NASCAR did nothing. But I mean, NASCAR's going to be entitled to do nothing. But then NASCAR's going to be like last on the inside here. So it seems an unlikely play for it.
Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, going back to Rockalicious, she was a horse that showed that they had a lot of ability early. She had a major setback, took ages to get back to the races. The best runs have seemed to have become on wet tracks. I don't know if she was just flat second up, but from what I've seen so far, maybe she's just a wet tracker.
Okay.
And, until I see her do something on a dry track and they'll be proven otherwise.
All right. And anything else to add? Any other horse you want to mention?
Yeah, Sweet Fire. That was also absolutely good. Well, its win was fine the other
Didn't
day.
we all walk away from that win going, we're never backing that horse ever again?
Yeah, I think one of the things I saw with that, and I became very, very confident. I think I said, "Darren, this could be a moral before the race." Is that its best is dry. Simple as that. It's not a wet tracker at all.
Yeah, which was weird. It was a wet track as a young horse, and then it grew.
Yeah, it's second hand.
substantially,
Yeah.
and it's gone big.
Yeah.
It was really fat first up, and it was one that took forever and ever to get fit.
Yeah.
Trial between runs was
Yeah.
outstanding.
And that's the big double negative when you're not a wet tracker and you hit it and you're not fit. That really compounds it.
Yeah.
So.
And it should have
Yeah,
won.
so assess her on dry track, and you can assess her on that win, which was a low win. But then again, I don't think we're going to be saying, even though you've got a bit of a horn for Sabrina, I don't think we're going to be saying much other than that was a low win there here to win this. It's the midweek race. It's designed to be a midweek race, and that's what it is, just for city prize money.
Yeah,
Saturday
I've
prize,
seen
so.
Sabrina second up. We saw her second up on Melbourne Cup Day where she showed a turn of foot in a slowly run race. And then second up, all the other horses were getting up the inside, the best lane, on the 8 metre rail on, was it 9 metre rail on in the James Carr Stakes.
Yep.
Is it James Carr, and
think
she
so.
was coming down the outside. I think she's got legitimate runs there.
All right, race 4 is 1,200 metres for the 3-year-olds and up, benchmark 85. Music Magnate, $2.80, $3 or thereabouts. Ins and outs about the $5 or $6 mark. As is Prince Famous, as is Sultry Feeling. Mark, ins and outs probably doesn't lead this time, does he? It's a sit, does it?
Well, there's this line that we keep hearing from the stable that we want to take a sit on this horse.
Yeah.
And
But if they keep going sillily slow, they'll probably not much. He's fit, he's rock hard, so he's going to, in any form, so he's going to bounce if he's there, isn't he?
well, that's right. There's he's there. Prince Famous has drawn 1, which do they care about leading on this horse?
It's
They
led
could-
in almost every start.
Yeah, considering they let him one last start, it'll be lead.
Okay.
Don't worry about how
All right,
fast.
so that puts ins and outs in the deck.
Zong, yeah, not a bad spot for a fit horse in form.
No, it's fine. Especially as Prince Famous looked a bit shallow first up.
Yeah.
Lahu is
Lahu, he can come
is
across.
fresh. Anya's posse's up. Dream Choice went forward the other day. So, in fact, the problem with this race is there are a few roadblocks.
Yeah. Well,
There are a few roadblocks in there.
Yeah, and Mark's pointing to horses that aren't Music Magnate, and he's got Music Magnate batting on his map. I'd like to see Music Magnate be on Ins and Outs Hammer.
Yeah, so ridden forward. Of course,
Yes.
we saw
4th or 5th, bang.
3 of
Right
these
on.
horses in a feature race in the autumn, where Music Magnate was quite unlucky with an unlucky jockey on board, O'Bossum. Prince Famous ran shorter in that race and drew inside, but contends with the same situation. And Sultry Feeling also drew inside in that race.
About a 25 to 1 or something. All right, okay, well, let's start with Music Magnate, the ruling favour. First up, he had 2 things against him. One was a perfect Blake Shin ride on the winner in Fell Swoop, who's gone on to do good things in Melbourne. And 2 was that he was out of play. Never really was going to be suited in that race, and that's sort of how it turned out.
Yeah, 1,000 metres isn't his go.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like he's had 2
1200
barrier trials.
Yeah. And I think we even looked at horse that could get to possibly 1400.
Yep.
He's one of those horses. I think he's the best horse in the race. I think if he gets any luck from the gate, he gets him, he'll just win.
Yeah, I think, as I said, if he falls out where he envisages, I think he'll go straight past
If
him.
he's roughly midfield,
I think you
slightly
need
down.
to say something different. That's what everyone else says. If X has any luck, then we'll win.
Well, we're saying how he's going to get low. Jump on Ins and Outs' Hammer, sit there, tag
Should
him,
be
and
a
piss
beautiful
off.
spot,
Yeah, that's where it should be. Yeah.
How else would you like it? If
it-
he doesn't get luck, he still might win,
Yeah.
being the best horse. But I would, being second up, and he's still got a lot of. I think he's going to have a lot of improvement.
I think
What's his target? Music?
I
Just
think,
to
I think
work
so.
through the grades and maybe aim for something. Yeah, it's about right, isn't it? Yeah. But he has got a lot of improvement. The trial will bring him on a lot. It'll be very interesting to see how he parades. So, but I mean, he could easily improve 4 lengths off that first up run.
Eminently likeable. Any comment on Sultry Feeling? Who?
She was presented absolutely perfect first up for in the balance of how fit you need to be first up, but also how you need to leave
With
something in the
enough
tank.
improvement,
Yeah, it's like we're really well done to James Cummings for that. The way that she was just
She got a
spot
little-
on
yeah. She got a
with
little-
balance.
yeah.
Like not good enough to win first up, but also not forward enough to
She'll
have
make
the
a
guts.
far stronger horse.
Guts
too,
for,
hasn't
yeah,
she?
she has.
She's a real racehorse now.
She's pretty impressive type now. Yeah.
Is she the danger?
Probably a chance. I don't want to be on her. But
Who is the danger? Who
look,
are
I
you
think-
worried about?
I
I'm
think-
worried about ins and outs.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's
that's,
going to be.
Well, I mean, you know what he's going to do? In our language, he's going to run 4 to 5 lengths above average from being on pace, and he's rock hard fit, and you've got to get past him with a horse in Music Magnate that isn't rock hard fit. That, those little centimetres might count in the last bit when you're
I
right.
think James.
Of course, they have clashed before when Ins and Outs was first up and Music Magnate was third up.
Yeah,
And Ins and Outs had the race shot to bits and Music Magnate
Huey.
lined him.
Yeah.
I think James has gone to look for the easier race, trying to avoid bounding and Catkins.
Right.
But I think he's run into a pretty sharp ball on the up.
Sure.
Mm.
Sure.
Mm.
And Aaron, any comment on Havana, who you were spruiking a fortnight ago and didn't
Well, it was
run?
in a far easier race the other day where it's
Yeah.
come
Yeah,
here
Ins and
it's
Outs
meeting
ran
good odds.
Oh, and you know what I worry about too, with all due respect to Massaras and all that, the fact that
you
there's
need to respect.
no, it's with all due respect, but the month between trials is something I don't want to see from that. It's like a bit like a show. I want to see them
Stock
follow,
standard.
following the pattern, stock standard, Nothing tricky.
Yeah.
Month between trials and run. It says to
If
me.
it's big odds, I'll be chopping.
Yeah, I mean, look, we are talking about a 25 to 1 chance who, on numbers, from our point of view, is in the race. But that sort of was, I was able to pen it because of that.
Okay.
But I think it's still a little bit scary.
The one that's big odds, I thought could get a cheeky little run was Anyars. Did anyone find it at all? Or?
Stable's going better.
I saw it mentioned. It's not one of mine,
Yeah.
but I understand the interest.
Yeah.
Like it drew inside in the Hawkesbury Guineas race. I know that Najum was hard up against the fence, but didn't want to be inside that day.
Perfect, all right, so we're basically musing. What's your day tomorrow? Sultry Filly, okay. All right.
I went 4.91 instead of 4.1.
Race 5 is the race that Aaron just mentioned for the fillies. Bounding $1.90, Catkins $4. It's interesting, unusual not to see the $1.90 next to Catkins.
Well, Dallas, I will switch to you because, hang on, I'll just firstly say that I expect Fine Miss to resuming at 1200.
Yeah. This is the map. The map's quite fascinating, isn't it?
Fine Miss to press on, and
Echo Gal.
Echo Gal
Yes.
to be in probably in the death, keeping box seat, bounding one out, one back.
Yeah, but there's every chance that Catkins and Bounding are going to be together. It looks a very interesting match.
So talk to me about what Bounding did at her first start.
Bounding was very good. The key to Bounding seems to be that they've got her to settle. So she's sort of a horse that Vince and I were talking about it when we were doing this. It's similar to what Faulkner did. In that Faulkner used to do all of his work early, and then that leaves you more susceptible. If you can spread your data a little bit more evenly, you get more chance of squeezing more out. And it looks like, I mean, she's a horse that can run big numbers, and has run big numbers first up. But she was able to settle. They've taught her to settle, and she was able to just go to benchmark through, and then come home, sprint home in 4 lengths above. On an unsuitable wet track too. She's much better on the dry. So her first up run was a big tick. Looks like 2 to 3 lengths improvement in the bank. Tick all around for what she did first up, and will be better
So
coming
you
to
think
the
she's
dry.
better on the dry track?
For sure,
Wow.
Sue. For
What do you
sure.
say, Aaron, about Bounding?
Oh, it trolled exceptionally, and it's raced exceptionally.
So is this all about?
My only question is the horses that beat home. That's my question on that normal one. She had a beautiful run. She's in the right part of the track. I know there's this huge spruik around Rich Enough. I'm yet to be a believer in Rich Enough.
He
was in a bad spot, wasn't he?
He was in a bad spot, but
He was in a bad spot. But I mean, look, Rich Enough's best, and what Rich Enough did there are poles apart. Rich Enough was a horse first up 300 days on a wet track, and he's a big horse, so he wasn't suited, and he was in the wrong part of the track. He wasn't suited at all there. But what she did was pretty good.
Oh, she's very impressive.
Yeah, just keep talking about her.
I think she's impressive. I had her on top, but didn't really want to find her. I thought she was too short.
All right, okay. So that's Bounding, Mark. What are you saying Bounding?
Well, she looks well prepped in the sense that Snowdens have taken her over and appear to be able to get the best out of her. I've seen her once before in Sydney where she ran tight enough in one of those championship races. So I'm certainly in her camp. I understand there are slows about the Catkins, but I mean she's clearly got a great chance. And the only other horse I was interested in was Echo Gal.
All right, well, let's talk about Catkins. Looked all the same with the trials, similar trials to what she's done. Are you saying that with the trials, Aaron? To what?
From the start of last prep, not
Yeah.
that Queensland.
No,
prep,
forget
she
that.
looked to
I'm
be going
talking about
there.
the start of the prep.
start of last prep when she was going good.
Yeah,
and
she's
like
going
I said, I've
great.
always had the theory on her that she's a first and second up horse,
Yeah.
and it looks like she's back trialling the way she was before.
Okay, well, but they mark this is something that one of I think it's been a pearl or whatever. She is coming off that little mini prep in Brisbane.
Yeah.
It's her worst preparation, which was ended with the worst ever run.
Yeah.
So what are we saying about that?
It was away. It doesn't really belong.
Doesn't belong. Okay, so do we can we?
Well, I
forgive
mean,
that?
okay,
As
you
a, I mean, I know she's only 5, isn't she? But it's as a man.
So are you playing devil's advocate?
Oh,
now,
look,
or-
I don't know
get
what
the sense,
to think.
I get the sense you want to be on it.
The price seems whatever, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
Let's say
I think it's a 2-horse race, and you pick one and save the other.
Yeah, okay. The situation is that she turns up here with 14 runs on this track, great wins, and Bounding's never seen the track.
Yep.
So it's an interesting conundrum.
And I think this will be a very interesting tactical race about what happens with. I think it's advantage James McDonald being drawn outside bounding.
Yep, true.
So, but then if Gunn can do something a bit tricky, as I said, it's advantage James. He's in the right spot to do it, but it could be a fascinating tactical race.
Yeah, well, it's an exciting race.
And in saying that, Catkins is probably close enough to a best career run. Was first up last time in the.
Today Mahiri ran third to her.
Yeah.
If bounding starts any shorter, I'll be having very small bets against her.
Yeah.
On Catkins and the other horse. I'm hoping these skits, everyone, like you just said it's a 2-horse race. So I think the tactics of the jockeys are going to be sitting there watching.
Yeah, watching. What are you
And-
saying? Peeping could just piss off?
No,
or?
I'm saying slightly sweet.
Yeah, okay.
It's the one that interests me. It came in the same trial as Catkins. It's trialled exceptionally well. It's a horse on the arc. And it's the one that's going to just be tagging their bums and just could be coming home.
So I see no difference between Slightly Sweet, Wine Tails, Supara,
Barramilla.
throw in Durhamilla.
I can't believe you're still putting those horses.
What?
in the
Hang
same-
on, Wine Tails and Slightly
Wine
Sweet
Tails.
were mirror images last preparation.
Winetails, Barramilla.
Winetails.
Wait till the match race next week. Barramilla will be on the back up again.
Winetails will blow its head off.
Okay.
Okay, the statement the conclusion I've drawn here is that bounding will not run odds on again.
Yeah, it does seem a weird
Is he
look,
saying
does it?
shorter or
No, long bad. We'll run the bad.
they're running the blame?
He said it won't run odds on. What's shorter than odds on?
Two's on.
That's still odds on.
Yeah, that's true. But
It's odds on.
I'm saying
odds on.
yeah.
No, it can't be shorter than odds on
Yes, right.
because unless they bet money back.
Yeah,
Okay. So
very good.
I don't think we'll bother with the fractions, Mark. So you're not saying odds on. What is the stable? I haven't seen any of the news. I know there's a story up on the side about it, but what's the news on Catkins? What are they saying? What's Wallace saying?
Oh, it is.
Mark, have you seen?
Well, the pundit show says that Chris is, being conservative at this point.
So in other words, don't even worry about it. Okay. Well, anything else to add, Mark? Peeping.
Look, I'm worried that I've got bounding too short.
Yeah.
I think I've allowed myself to be beguiled there. Catkins, what you see is what you get. Great horse, great chance. Peeping, I suppose Peeping is the wild card, isn't she?
She's got a lot of improvement off her first run in the yard, Aaron.
What?
A lot of improvement. Yeah. I thought she paraded awfully.
I don't know where you could find improvement. She was as
Because
skinny as a rake.
we looked at
She
different
started.
things. Trust me, she can improve 3 to 4
Well,
weeks.
she'd have to improve.
Yeah, she has to.
She looked like Mr. Burns. So she looked horrendous.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She can improve.
Hopefully he's found a way to feed her.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. She can improve.
Okay.
So you're saying you're
She
contradicting
might-
yourself.
No,
You're saying,
my point is she looked over the top.
well, yeah, but they can improve on that. She can go backwards, but she was awful first up.
She looked horrendous. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So it's a match with a wild card.
Yep. Okay. The Golden Rose is the feature event. $3.50 press statement, $3 extra sphere, and Speak Fondly has been the one they've come for. $4.40 or thereabouts is the betting. Mark, Holler and Speak Fondly sorted out.
Seem to. We've lost Gold Symphony, so
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, it's the scratching this morning.
yeah, so that offers press statement in the box seat, which looks a bit unfortunate. Shards sort of 1-1s. Let's Make It Rain was ridden quietly the other day, so I'm not sure whether they want to go forward on it. Sebring Sun, Regis and Exosphere at the back.
All right, lovely. Let's start with Exosphere. Came back with numbers that make him now the best 3-year-old/2-year-old in front of Vancouver.
Yeah.
So it's the best data for a 3-year-old now belongs to Exosphere, and he was first up. What are you saying about that, Mark?
I'm saying that he was suited, but did the job in figures that make him eminently likeable in this race.
Mm-hmm.
So the horse's run that I really liked in the race was Holler, but it's just going to be the sort of situation where Exosphere is going to beat him.
Yeah, it seems like it's a similar type race, similar type pace to the race. The plus 200 metres is just as favourable for Exosphere as it is anything else.
Yeah.
The improvement of Exosphere is as much as anything else. Blah blah blah, and then they've still got to find a pretty, a soft 1 3/4 length, don't they? Anyway, so he's eminently likeable. What are you saying about Exosphere, Aaron?
Certainly likeable, very likeable. His win was just arrogant first
Yeah.
up. My little question with him is 1400. The fact it's probably not going to be an overly fast run, 1400. I just kind of get the feeling he's a run on sprinter.
I think they'll go as quick as they did last time.
Redzol led the other day, didn't he?
Speak fondly, and Holler will go as quick as that. Holler was there and part of it.
Yeah, Holler was part of the team. I know, he's part of the bash team.
Yeah, and I just correct me, Holler hasn't had a stable change, has he?
No.
And would Exosphere be the more valuable colt?
Well, Holler's by command, so...
Yeah, so we don't need another commands for the colonial breeds. Well, John being, Rick does get a little bit of a mention, but one thing Rick does understand is a little bit of tactics. So,
he's got three of the 8.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a nice consistent pace at the pace that we've seen.
Okay, but what about the idea that...
Yeah, I'm going the opposite theory. I'm not sure if I think the more pace that goes on will lean towards press statement. I think the slower they go...
No, I'm saying the right pace.
Yeah, but true pace.
Yes.
What about using shards as the...
Yeah, they could easily be thrown to the shit heap as well too. Yeah, why not? Joey Merrill come out and do your thing. Yeah, why not?
Right, so there seems to have been a lot of interest in the filly this week. Obviously, she's third up.
Back up.
And with the back up, and she's come back, blazing. Against that, she's coming to Rose Hill, where the other horses have sort of set themselves up. So she's bringing a line that doesn't easily fit into this race.
I'm just a little bit confused. Why is she $4?
Oh, I think it's a very short price.
She has beat Kimberly Star and Perignon.
And she has not got she's paraded awesomely. She hasn't got a centimetre ring. I mean, back up, maybe up in distance, Gay, all that is where the improvement comes. But as fitness-wise goes, Aaron, you can't do anything that she's been doing in the parade yard better. The way she's walking, her fitness levels, her attitude, everything is A1 with her at the moment. So unless she sprites, the extra 200 metres really, really does work with her. There's no improvement.
I couldn't get her in the top 5. I couldn't find her.
I think
the market's saying it wrong.
Yeah, I'm not in the Speak Fondly camp. Press statement. We can't talk about Exosphere without talking about.
See the way that I've been KK member of Press Statement, but the way that I see it, and I know it's only comparing one run, but it's the most recent run, so it's the most obvious one to use. He was awesome first up. He was, I believe, more forward than Exosphere first up. He's going to be better at. He gets the tick for going up in distance. He gets the tick for being second up. He gets the tick for the return. But so does Exosphere, and Exosphere put a hole in him. And Exosphere probably did have more favours in the run, but not by much. And it looks the same. It looks the same thing again. So it's same extra 200 metres, which I'm saying is a plus for both of them. So he's.
I know, but the perception will be that Press Statement's seen a mile, whereas Exosphere has yet to see past 1200. So
I'm saying
the perception will be that
you say double tick. I'm saying double tick.
I'm saying question.
I'm saying off our numbers, it's more of a tick for.
Anyway, won't they run 280 and 350?
Exosphere
280, 350.
I would have thought it's 5 to 4, 5 to 4, 7 to 4. It's 5 to 4, 7, 5 to 4, 5 to 2. Probably 7 to 1 Holler and work up the rest. Is that about the percentage is that up there?
Oh well, it's pretty deep. But,
just work your cool.
They look the 3 top ones. I'm
maybe
having a small bet on Reduce at the big odds.
Is it big odds?
It will be. It will be when all the money comes.
$20. No. Yeah. Actually, I could even be odds on Exosphere. Actually, now the more I think about it. Yeah, I'm odds on Exosphere.
Odds on. There you go.
Yeah.
How's betting right up?
Yeah, probably $1.87 to 2, and then put the rest in, something like that. Is that okay with you, mate?
Well, when it wins, it's certainly okay with me.
All right. Okay. All right. More Exosphere?
I'm Exosphere, but my soft spot in the race is for Holler because I love what he did first up.
I'm Press Statement on top. Then Exosphere second.
And Holler, I think Holler's third with all of us, is he?
Gibbon Regis third.
All right, the Theo Marks Stakes, which is, in my opinion, the head fucking race of the day. $4.20 Winex, $4.60 Vashka, $6 Messine, $9 Strawberry Boy.
This is 1300.
Yeah, which makes
Winex.
it even more weirder too. Weird race, weird distance. Who leads?
Well, I mean, Strawberry Boy's a desperate leader, but I mean, I've got faster horses than him at this distance. Bashka and Boss Lane from the deep appear faster. You've got Decision Time who could make a play for the lead. Hard Tester will posse up. Amanpour would like to be on speed, and you've got underneath the Messine, and Ninth Legion is not hopeless of trying to force up
To be there,
Yeah.
depending on how it looks. All right, okay, we'll just go down the page and those under double figures, I suppose. Messine, scratched the other day, as we've been saying, was very fat first up, was still very fat second up, but it was a significant improvement. Mark, what are you saying about Messine and
I'm torn about Messine. You know,
the torment of Team Hawks at the moment?
Yes, I'm torn about it. Look, I don't like where it's drawn. I didn't mind what it did first up. I didn't really like what it did the other day. So I'm reluctantly saying no.
Yeah, I'm not really saying anything about the race, because again the Hawks team are in there and the Hawks team are in the mix. It's making it confusing for me. Aaron, what are you saying about Messine?
I'm not taking the sword to it by any means. I think it's a chance I'm against it at the price.
Yeah.
If it hit double figures, then it could be being chopped out.
Amanpour. Trials, Aaron?
Looks to be going as good as Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
And I said to Dallas, I'll just about have to go up, jump the enclosure and kiss Gay if it comes out and wins and say you are the best at making horses look bad in trials.
Well, she probably is.
She's the best.
Yeah.
She's the best.
She's the best at making them look very dour and slow in trials.
Yeah.
Yes,
You know, she does resume off
Bloody good win.
a bloody good win. That's right, and resumes at 1300, which is just, it's just about right. She's drawn where you would just about want her to be drawn. I mean, she's,
Be Preble.
she's just such a good fighter.
Yeah.
That if if she's in a position, you'd want to be with her.
There are a few slows for her though.
Yeah, I understand. She's at 3 1200 metre trials.
Yeah.
And
And progressively got worse in them. Is that a fair call, though?
First one I went, Amanpour's come back in good nick. She's in for a nice prep. And then the next trial I went, ooh, something doesn't seem right with Amanpour. And then I think the next trial I thought she might be dead.
right, okay. So you're not in the Amanpour camp. Shall we
right.
move on?
Okay,
Yeah.
but I'm hearing the slows, but acknowledging that if there weren't slows there and there were positives there, she's
You'd have a hard in the race. You'd have a hard in the race.
Winx.
She's the bravest horse in the race by a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Winx.
I don't like it. It's a horse that does have a turn of foot, and we saw that in the 1500 metre race. So 1300 should be ideal. But I suppose I'm objecting to the fact that she's got all these headline victories to her name. If she was a lesser performed horse with that turn of foot, that it hadn't been established.
Hadn't gone to the 2200 metres. Oaks.
It's too exposed a horse.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So
in other words,
I marked it 6 to 1.
Yeah.
Like on the front line.
Yeah. And that's fair enough too. And I mean, but she has got the monster sprint, and it's not. The numbers do back up that sprint. I think one of those races in Queensland, she's gone 12 lengths above average for the last 400 metres, which is as fast as you can go. So that's
I'm
serious
thinking that
shit.
she's done that against horses that have almost hurt. She's been encouraged to hurdle past.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, but even though one of my maxims is that you go up in grade, it's better to be a back marker.
Back marker, yeah, but that's my point, is that she's going to be coming from a position where problems can arise.
Yeah. Anyway, look, she's deadly and dangerous and seems short enough.
Winx.
I looked at the noms and went, they could make a mistake and put this horse up $8 and I'll just be truckloading it each way. I just won't be able to have enough on, and then they put it up to $4 that I've roughly marked it and just gone.
Yeah, but admittedly a risky $4. Is that?
No, not so much risky. I think she'll get out on the day for the reasons that Mark said. I think there's going to be a few people going to oppose, and I wouldn't be surprised to get the $6, but on the fair at least, and then become a very, very good bet. One thing with her, I had that question mark with Sadler's Lake the other day, where it was coming back off the Derby and would it. They were in the same trial. They trialled almost identical with a slight lean to Winx. Trialling better
Winx
than
on this
Winx. Yeah, sorry, Winx. Trialling probably even slightly better than him. They're very similar. The one trial's ideal. Looks like ready to sprint well fresh. She was always a horse. It was just this gangly, funny shaped. She was always that step behind, and that's why she could never beat First Seal. She was that one really matured. I think she's come back. She's matured.
Yeah.
She could be in for one serious prep.
Yeah, I'd be very interested to see in the yard because she wasn't. There was still a lot of filling out to her, wasn't there? So she has the propensity to be able to fill out and then fill in some holes in the data as well too. Be very interested to see how she parades.
Could be one way. She could either be just smack bang favourite in this race, or she could just be there for another barrier trial.
Yep.
Just that time.
All right,
Hard
next
one.
in the market, Vashka pressing for favouritism. What are we saying about the Blue Jacket representative?
Well, it was impossible not to like his first up runner. It was, that was as good as you would hope for.
Mm-hmm.
He returns to Rose Hill. He's in the van in a competitive race, but a race that you'd be happy to see him sort of sitting on Boss Lane and Strawberry Boy. That'd be a nice scenario.
Mm-hmm. Plenty of improvement, Aaron.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There's one thing that John O'Shea got on the radio and completely, he half bagged the horse.
Yeah.
He was only just right because it almost won, but he did say it's going to improve a lot, stepping up in trip forward, and he's going to.
Well, was it too hard a run for its lack of condition?
I don't think so.
Possibly. Yeah.
I suppose it was 3 weeks ago.
It's 3 weeks. That's the key. That's the key.
The one thing I thought though, he seems kind of short in this race. Where I looked at I know he's probably got a lot more upside, but Heart Tester was probably equally as good.
Yeah,
And I thought Aoman in the same race, coming from behind, was very good late, and they seem big odds where he kind of seems.
Yeah,
very well
it's about the. Well, you've got to remember what price he was pre-post in that race.
Yeah,
I know
And
the.
so the same assessors that marked him short there.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Have marked him short again.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
and the race will get longer.
And I think it was probably when you were doing the form with him, it was looking at the trial and profile and everything. It was easy to assume that he was going to be coming to play first up, but then it became blatantly obvious that he wasn't coming to play first up. Hence what it got out to.
Yeah.
Okay, well they're the main chances we've covered. Is there anything else that anyone wants to throw in?
Famous Seamus,
Oh mate, my mate.
your Dow's favourite horse.
Powerful
right up
combination
there.
there.
Yeah, very. I think it's. I know it looks very weird.
Where's
First up
Robin Freeman?
1300, but
Yeah,
one
that's
thing, their horses. A few of those horses in the same colours have all trialled well just recently. One of them's come out, one raced well. He looks back to his best, and I think the first up at 1300 looks intent that he's going to be quite forward. first
Right
up.
draw, right distance,
Wrong rider.
wrong rider.
I think it's got a lot of pluses. I think.
As Gord said, he's looking to back it, but he's looking for 50s.
Yeah, unfortunately, because it's the prize.
And happy birthday, Gord.
Oh, happy birthday! God's birthday, is he?
Yeah, it's not a hard birthday to remember. It's 9/11.
Oh, there it is. Oh, it's a 9/11 today. Wow.
Not yet. It's not yet 9/11 where it needs to be 9/11, but it's 9/11
in
in
Australia.
Australia.
Yeah, okay.
Different 9/11.
Wow. Okay. Yeah,
All right.
wasn't that a day? All right, okay, so anything else?
Well, you've mentioned Heart Tester and to a lesser extent Omen.
Who do we want to be playing? Who are you thinking?
Well, look, I'm content with Vashka. I think he's relatively well set up. Heart Tester is a horse that I think has been missed.
Kind of looks like his target race in a way. So I know.
Yeah, because he's not 1400. He's a 1300 maximum horse,
Yep.
and 1300 is quite good for him. Look, I respect Winks.
Winks.
Turbulent Jet is a blowout.
Always possibly is.
Well, it's just that he's a dry. He's
Dry track.
never ever really got the dry track and the right distance, the right draw.
Yeah.
He's got circumstances for him tomorrow that
and a
work
high
for him.
percentage racing style to go with it.
Well, that's why
Good play.
you need odds about those.
Yeah,
sorts of
exactly.
horses.
Good placement.
So that's where I'm sitting.
I'm Winx on top, and I'm interested in Heart Tester, Famous Seamus.
I'm Winx on top too, but yeah, I'm probably not. Look, Parade will tell a lot in that race for me.
Yep.
Race 8 is the last event, as it often is, until it is December. Nancy's $2.80, $3.80 God's in him, $6 the Champion Holly Delusions, and Barramilla. The horse is better than Wine Tails is 6-1.
And there are horses that like to go here, but I don't know how fast they'll go. So never got a vote as a designated leader. Padiros resumes here back from 1800 off a short spell. Nancy will have to be forward in this race. Interestingly, we've got the big double in this race. We've got the God's Own, God's in Him,
Yeah.
and we've got the Big Brown, Nancy.
Oh, Big Brown's in the bag too, is he?
Big Brown, it's bloody worse than God's Own.
Okay.
Can't believe I didn't know she's by Big Brown.
That's
I've
a,
never
that's,
noticed
a,
that.
that's a
I would
shock,
never have
isn't
guessed.
it? Yeah, that's going to, yes. Surely that's going to prevent it doing what you forecast on the Punished Show website, Aaron. But you know,
I don't think
maybe
it'll
there
prevent
aren't that many Big Brown haters. But as far as I can tell, the perceived wisdom is that Big Brown's been a shockingly disappointing stallion, and
There's always one.
well, there's always one. There's always one. But we've got We've got the ones here. We've got the Nancy and we've got the God's in Him.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Okay. Well, we'll start with Nancy. Let's talk about it. How did you rate its Canterbury?
Well,
Second.
it was poison from the get-go because it drew go one.
Yeah.
I mean, that was bad. Having said that, she is a horse that does look to have the big brown flat spot. You
Yeah.
know, so she's only had 4 lifetime starts.
Yes.
I think third run, first campaign, she just presented. There it was. Whereas at Canterbury, she was asked to sprint and she couldn't quicken at the right time for reasons not necessarily just about her ability to quicken, but
Tommy just kind of just waited and just hoped that the gaps were just going to open.
yeah, but you could see
Right,
before the
so-
turn she wasn't going to be quickening when asked, and she was in a compromised position at that point. Look, eminently likeable, lightly raced horse, going to be in the right position, and they're going to ask you to take quite a good price.
Okay. Yeah. I would. Numbers wise, there's nothing for me really to like out of its Canterbury race.
What is it, about $2.80 or something?
$2.80, yeah.
I don't think it's barely that. It might be $2.60.
$2.60. I reckon it'll start closer to $1.80 on the day.
All right, that's Aaron's forecast for the
okay.
forecast,
Right.
and look,
Are they gonna-
the others are Yucksville. So
Yeah. Well, okay. So are they going to Brasco God's in Him or come with them? But it's
well,
I'm-
okay, talks. It was assuming.
Tommy Berry, but it's Tommy Berry outside draw, not inside draw.
Yeah, but it's also 2 wins wet
Where, yeah,
I think
at Randwick.
yeah. I'm saying my point is, forgetting about. Well, I can't forget about the Hawks thing, but if you put that aside, I'm saying it's probably 4 to 6 lengths better on a dry track than it is a wet track.
I'm going the opposite now. I've changed my mind.
What?
I think he's a wet tracker, not a dry tracker.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, and I went and I've watched his trials, I've watched his runs. He's got that real wet tracker kind of climbing action, and maybe he's a wet tracker.
Okay.
And that could come from the fact that he did have a bad injury. And
Yeah,
sometimes that reflects the gate of the
well,
track.
okay. If there wasn't injuries or whatever, the horse is better. Our numbers say that he's a lot better through the dry, but then again, he might need that cushioning effect as well.
I'm
too.
not saying dead set heavy's his go. I just think maybe the sting out of the track.
I think what he did. I think what he did in the winter was very good, considering I don't think he was suited. But and if he runs up to what he did in the winter on the dry track, I think that's good enough to win this race. Because I have no opinion of Nancy.
Yeah, but I mean, Nancy they'd likely to be in different races here.
Yeah.
Nancy's going to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I look like I
forward,
can't.
and he's going to be back.
I can't be playing in the race.
The wild card for me is Tester Shadow, who has been a little. Well, he's certainly been enigmatic, but he presents third up here with the rider change. Clinton off, Anglin on.
It's going better.
And his wins are third up. So I want to suggest that Tester Shadow is trading too long.
Aaron, you're suggesting everything's trading too short because you're finding another 30% for old mate.
I'm not saying I think she is $1.80. I'm saying I think
Yeah,
with the money that's
her
been coming
profile.
for Snowden stable,
Yeah.
and I think that God's in Him could easily be a heavy.
Oh,
buyer on
God's
the
in
day.
Him could, but they could take a sword to him. But then again, it has been a horse they have backed.
But it has been.
Yeah, it's
I
always
just,
been time to bet.
I think
Yeah.
she's been one, and I think she's very talented, and she'll progress through the grades. I thought Song and Laughter could be one. It's known as a wet tracker. I thought its run first up was good.
Jennings to Abdallah.
Jennings to Abdallah being a huge play. One thing with Kevin I've noticed is usually when he wants to have a crack at one of his horses, he goes apprentice, senior jockey, money goes on, and they seem to run 5 lengths better than they did to start prior.
Yeah.
Pretty much right.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I-
And Barramela's Barramela.
Well,
Yeah, I'm taking the
but-
sword to her this one.
Well, the ring will take the sword. No, so it's wet. Like it's it's
you know what with Barramela? I reckon every time she goes out and runs the same. It's just whether there's faster horses in front.
that's true.
She is.
Yeah,
if every horse was like Barramela, this would be a very easy game because she runs the same every week. Whether she runs first or fifth, it just depends on how fast the others are running, because she
Yeah.
runs as fast as she can everywhere.
True enough.
Parades
enough.
beautifully, does everything right, not much good,
Yep.
but
Wins races.
wins races.
There you go.
Tradeswoman.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Very good, Del.
All right, okay. All right, well, that wraps up the show. And we will be back with a punter show on Monday featuring Darren Potter.
God, we'll have to move over. Make way, Glenn.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. Anyway, thank you very much. Good luck. Try out all the free trials, or give yourself a free trial, or otherwise there's some other packages that you can look around the site and have a look around, and you'll find it all. Good luck.